What's going on, Panther Nation? It's your boy, the Bigg Kat, aka Bigg Q, TeamBoydTV Turbo. And listen, I just felt like I wanted to come on here and address Panther Nation. I think it's due. I think this is the time for it to happen because we knew people who've been flying that blue and black flag since the beginning. They knew. We started talking about this last season. We talked about it during the off season. Talked about it during the beginning of the season, that we were going to come to a point in our season where we're going to have to kind of look at ourselves, right? We're going to have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, who are the Carolina Panthers, you know? And I think now is the time for us to actually do that. It's time for some self-reflection after yesterday's games and whatnot. It's time, right? And a couple different things I want to address in this little speech right here. One of the first things I want to address is Panther Nation itself. I want to address is, I'm not talking about you dudes, the dudes who represent hardcore. I ain't talking about the battle cats. I'm not talking about people like The Voice, Cali Blue, Dorian Walker, NFL Panthers 07. I'm not talking about guys like you, Kendall Frank. I'm not talking about you guys, okay? I'm talking about non-battle cats. I'm talking about people who's jumped on the bandwagon in week 9 or whatever the case may be. You know, especially the people here in Charlotte. And this little part of the video, I want to direct this to the people of Charlotte, North Carolina, right here in Charlotte. I've seen some crazy stuff happen in the city. I remember back in 2003 when we was going on our Super Bowl run, how that Super Bowl run kind of transformed the city. And it's good and it's bad. It's good to see everybody coming together. You know, I remember the last Monday night, the city was completely shut down for the game. Everything was a beautiful sight to see, except for the fact that a lot of these people, just a couple weeks prior, were wearing San Francisco 49ers jerseys, Seattle Seahawks jerseys, Washington Redskins jerseys. I remember going to the New York Giants game this season. Me, my brother JB, Vernie B, we were all there. And I'm telling you, there were about, it was 50-50. It was so many blue New York Giants jerseys in that stadium that it was pathetic, right? And this is the problem I have with that. You can rep whatever team you want to. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is if you rep a certain team and you've been living in this city for however long you've been living here, but all of a sudden when the team is doing good and they're talking about the Panthers on TV and everybody talking about the Carolina Panthers, now you want to be a bona fide, certified Carolina Panthers fan. That right there is what bothers me. Okay, I have a problem with that. People who've been around or been repping this team since day one, we have a problem with that. Okay, and we have a problem because that y'all paint a negative picture of what real true battle cats look like. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not how we get down. We don't do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing I wanted to get off my chest. The other thing is going into the game last Monday night. Not even the Dolphins game. I'm talking about the New England Patriots game. And I saw Cali Blue put out a video about the same exact thing. Saw a lot of so-called Panther Nation fans were talking reckless, saying that, who is Tom Brady? Ain't no way in the world we can get this done. And again, this season is so special, and there's so much serious stuff going on right now. I can't have somebody saying that they're a Panthers fan talking publicly like that. That don't sit well with me. Don't really want to see it. Don't care to hear it. Because right now the Panthers are doing something that are so much bigger than this little opinion that you may have. This is something good that's good for the city. It's good for the fan base. It's good for the organization. The Panthers need this right now. And for fans to be all fickle and all wishy-washy like that, us real true battle cats, we got to shut this down, like now. You know what I mean? Before we get into this situation where, it gets a little out of hand, these people start speaking on bigger and bigger forums, and they make the Carolina Panthers look like a wishy-washy, flippy-floppy team, and that is not the case for a true team, and that is not the case. Now, I want to get into this little section right here. I had a conversation with Greg Hardy on, I want to say it was on Friday. It was a couple days ago. And we was talking, there's two things in that conversation that stood out to me. One of the things that he said to me was that this season was the most fun he's ever had playing football at any level, high school football, college, Pee Wee, even in the pros. It's like this season, he's having a blast. And at the end of the day, I know these guys, Greg Hardy and those boys, that's their job. But for us, it's fun, it's entertaining. It's just like we as fans, we like to get involved with it because it's fun. And for this guy to tell me how much fun he's having playing this season, that made me look at everything in a whole different perspective. You know what I mean? It made me kind of think like, oh, well, maybe us as fans, we're taking this a little too seriously. This, that, and the third. Maybe we need to have a little bit more fun with this. And that's the way he made it out to look like. Now, and then I'm looking at, Facebook over the weekend, especially yesterday during the Miami Dolphins game. And, a lot of people were trying to question, who's a real fan, who's a true fan, who's a bandwagon fan. And I mean, Carolina is one of them teams that just happen to have a whole lot of bandwagon fans, just like the Miami Heat. They got a lot of bandwagon fans, right? And I guess I can use this and I can embrace it, but I don't know, I'm rejecting it because it makes me uncomfortable, right? And we saw, certain folks, even on places like YouTube, who are, wishy-washy fair weather fans, and they do ridiculous stuff just to garner attention and things like that. I'm not about that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even going to entertain stuff like that. And the other thing that Greg Hardy told me, and you know what? And I was thinking the same thing myself, but to hear him say it inspired me really to do this video today, because normally I don't do videos like this. But we was talking about, the Miami Dolphins game that was coming up, and it was talking about the Saints and the division and all this, that, and the third. And, we was just talking about it, and I was telling him how, I was sweating bullets during the Cowboys and Saints game. And then, was looking at the 49ers, and then was like, oh, can we get the Falcons? Can they pull us out? And at the end of the day, he said, look, man, if you want to get something done, if you really want to get something done, you got to do it yourself. And you're sitting there waiting on San Francisco and Colin Kaepernick to knock off the Saints, or the Dallas Cowboys to go in there and on the wing and a prayer, being able to beat Drew Brees. That's crazy. If you want to get it done, do it yourself. The Carolina Panthers fully got their whole entire season for the rest of the way in their hands. They can, the way they play and the way they approach these games is going to determine whether or not they're going to be successful or not, or it's going to be a season for us to remember for ages and ages and ages. And you know what? I took that to heart, and I was like, that's pretty powerful. That is a pretty powerful statement coming from a player, and I thought, you know what? That was pretty dope. So look, at the end of the day, Panther Nation, man, the real Panther Nation, y'all guys, don't worry about nothing. We're going to approach this thing one game at a time. Whoever's next on the schedule, that's what we're dealing with. We're not looking ahead to the Saints. And we know we got the Bucks this week, and that's what we're dealing with. We're going to deal with the Bucks. And the Bucks ain't no joke. And nobody is a pushover in this league. On any given Sunday, any team can beat any team. We saw what happened last night with the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. I'm telling you, anything can happen. So we can't approach this like, oh, well, let's not think about the Dolphins, let's not think about the Bucks. It's all about the Saints. No, one game at a time, and we'll see how this thing turn out. But this your boy, the Bigg Kat, a.k.a. Bigg Q, TeamBoydTV Turbo. And I'm going to say this, man, keep calm and keep pounding. Peace.